Welcome back to Seen and Solved. I'm your host, Tim Pennington, here with part two of our special series featuring the master of metal finishing, Randy DiSano. Last time we tackled failing salt spray tests on heat-treated forgings. Today, Randy dives into resolving a common TriChrome bath issue, hexavalent chromium contamination. From quick tests to ensuring backup anodes, he offers practical tips to keep plating lines running smoothly. So let's get started.
You're listening to the Seen and Solved podcast, brought to you by Hubbard-Hall. Better results, less chemistry.
Randy, we're going to talk about another issue that you came in and were a big hero and solved this for a customer. And I think the topic today is TriChrome, correct?
Certainly. Sure.
Yeah. So to tell us about something that, problem that one of your customers had, and like I said, that you were able to kind of come in and solve it for them, even as easy, as hard as it was. Tell us all about that.
Sure. I have a few. Recently, I had a customer running just fine, and all of a sudden, the bath started plating thin, dark, and then they were literally shut down. So when I visited the customer, the very first thing that I looked into was, are they getting hexavalent chrome in their bath? And there's a simple little test that you can do on the bench to check for hexavalent chrome. So I showed the customer the test, and lo and behold, their bath was loaded with hexavalent chrome. Hexavalent chrome shuts down decorative TriChrome. And this is sulfate-based TriChrome, by the way. And that tells you that they're insoluble anodes, which are titanium-based, iridium oxide coated. It's a proprietary coating that does eventually wear out. And one mistake that platers make is thinking they'll last forever. And they just don't. So they were loaded with hex chrome, and I helped them, address that with sodium metabisulfite, but it's not a very good way to, you have no choice to get the bath going again, but it's only going to come back until you get your anodes recoated. And fortunately for my customer, I knew where there were some anodes because they didn't have a backup set, and it takes a good 6 to 8 weeks in order to recoat the anodes, and it's very expensive, which is why people fail to have a backup set in certain cases. It is a very expensive investment, but without getting a backup set of anodes, they're literally shut down. And it's a very difficult circle to keep, treating with metabisulfite to get the bath going again. So fortunately, I knew where there were some anodes. One of my customers had an extra set that they made an arrangement and help my customer out, and they were back in action. But it's a lesson, even if you do a couple at a time, they don't last forever. They do last for years. But it was as simple as hexavalent chrome in your bath.
And is this because it was a reaction? It was trivalent, but it was a reaction to something that was converting it to hexavalent? Is that
correct? As the iridium oxide coating diminishes, plating the titanium through that coating generates hex chrome,
which is not what they want at all. In any example with that, because obviously they moved to a trichrome. But does that happen a lot with those things of the tri? Because I've heard that for combination where trichrome will somehow back out into the hexavalent chromium.
Yes, it's a common issue, and not everybody knows about the simple test to check for hex chrome in the bath, and then the reluctance to spend the money to recoat your anodes, right? So it is common, but it's something we watch for with our customers. My most recent installation, that was one of the many things that was wrong with their bath. The reason I got my most recent account was same story. They need to plate chrome, and their bath just isn't performing. That was the very first thing I identified for them. And the rest of the story is an imbalance of the chemistry, and that's something that we're able to provide to our customers is we can analyze quantitatively almost every component in the bath. And then the component that we can analyze for, we can, monitor that with hull cell work. So a lot of it has to do with the support behind the customer. They're only able to analyze certain things on site, where we use instrumentation, et cetera, to quantitatively analyze the rest. So keeping the Hexavalent down, keeping the bath in balance, keep the impurities low, the bath will work for you.
Now, you mentioned a simple test, for what is that simple test for hexavalent chromium?
It's a little, you acidify the sample and you add an indicator and you put your sample in. If the solution turns red, then you have hexachrome. If it doesn't, you don't. And I always put a drop of hexachrome. If I get a negative result, I always put a drop of hexachrome in it just to make sure my test is working properly. And that one little drop, bang, it goes deep red.
So this is a tank side test, right? They don't have to send it out. They just do it right there.
Something they can do right on site. It's very simple. It's not a quantitative test, but it sort of is, because if it's slightly red, you have a little bit of hex, but if it's a deep color, you have a lot. And that's, hexavalent chrome will shut down a trivalent chrome. So it's important to know about that. Not everybody knows about it. Not everybody knows how to check for it and prepare for it.
Is it common, I guess, for them to have a set of backup anodes, or is it do most people have those?
If you don't have a set of backups, the companies that we work with provide a very high-end quality item, but they don't last forever. So it's a good idea, if you don't have a backup set, to recoat, even if you just do a couple at a time. Every couple of years, recoat a couple of anodes at a time, and before you know it, they're all recoated and you're going again. Because again, it takes a good 6 to 8 weeks to get them either new or recoated.
I'm sure a lot of people just don't do that. A lot of shops just don't do this testing and checking, I'm sure, or even have a spare around if they needed it.
Until it's too late.
And still it's too late. 68 weeks is monumental to be, to have to not be able to run a line, though.
So I try to stay on top of all of my trivalent chrome accounts and ensure that they're not waiting too long to start recoating some of their anodes yet.
That's something I was really not aware of. Not like you said, I'm pretty sure a lot of shops probably aren't aware until it happens to them, right?
Right.
It's not an emergency till it's an emergency, I'm assuming.
Right. It's like all of a sudden, it shut me down. But it is a very common thing. That's why we have knowledge. We share that knowledge with our customers, and we watch for that. That and the preventive maintenance program by analyzing baths routinely with the suppliers, so they can keep the bath in balance. That's the rest of it. Keep it pure of impurities, and it'll work great for you.
Well, good tip from you, Randy, is check your tanks and also make sure you have backup supplies. You cannot. It doesn't hurt, I'm assuming, to have those around.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks, Randy. We very much appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Seen and Solved by Hubbard-Hall. For more episodes, visit hubbardhall.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe, rate and review, and join us on social media. Produced by Awcast.